Welcome back to Midnight Dossier Studio. Today, we open a file that spans 4 decades, a story of a holy place turned crime scene, a 20-year injustice, and a truth that the river of time couldn't hide. The Rising Daughter Baptist Church was a pillar of the community. But on a Monday evening in 1985, the peace of a Bible study was shattered by a stranger with a gun. Harold and Thelma Swain were beloved. He was a deacon, she was the heart of the congregation. They were murdered in cold blood in the very vestibule of their church. Witnesses described a blond man who scuffled with Harold before opening fire. He left behind a single, critical clue, a pair of broken eyeglasses with hairs caught in the hinges. For 15 years, the case haunted Camden County. Leads went cold, and the blonde stranger seemed to have vanished into the Georgia heat, until a tip changed everything. In 2000, Dennis Perry was arrested. Despite an alibi that placed him 300 miles away, and DNA that didn't match the hair on the glasses, he was convicted of the double murder. Dennis Perry spent 2 decades behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. He became a symbol of a system that had failed the victims and the accused alike, but he never stopped fighting for his name. In 2020, the Georgia Innocence Project stepped in. They knew the key wasn't in the testimonies, but in the microscopic evidence found on those broken glasses 35 years earlier. Using advanced mitochondrial DNA testing, scientists focused on the maternal lineage of the hair found at the scene. They weren't looking for Dennis Perry anymore. They were looking for the true blonde stranger. The DNA pointed directly to Eric Sparra, a man who had been a suspect in 1986, but was cleared because of a falsified alibi. The truth was finally surfacing. In 2021, Dennis Perry was fully exonerated and released. The injustice was over, but the quest for accountability for the Swains was just beginning. On December 9, 2024, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation finally made their move. Eric Sparra, now 61 years old, was taken into custody and charged with felony murder. The trial the Swains family had waited 40 years for finally commenced in late 2025. The prosecution prepared to lay out a case built on DNA and a long-hidden motive. Prosecutors argued the motive was racial animosity, pointing to Sparra's alleged ties to the KKK. But the defense fought to keep this evidence away from the jury's ears. Just 1 day after testimony began, the trial came to an abrupt halt. On October 29, 2025, the judge declared a mistrial due to procedural complications. The path to justice had hit another roadblock. For the families of Harold and Thelma Swain, the mistrial was a bitter blow. 40 years of waiting, and the file was still open. Justice was once again delayed, but not defeated. As of early 2026, Eric Sparra remains in custody, awaiting a retrial. The legal system is regrouping, determined to finally bring this 40-year odyssey to a definitive end. The Swain case reminds us that justice is a marathon, not a sprint. It took 4 decades for DNA to name a suspect and free an innocent man. We will be watching the 2026 retrial closely. At Midnight Dossier Studio, we don't just tell stories. We document the search for the truth, no matter how long it takes or how deep it's buried. Join our investigative community. Subscribe and click the bell to stay updated on the Swain retrial and more global cold case breakthroughs. Your support keeps these files open. Midnight Dossier Studio. Real evidence, real stories. Welcome to the dossier.